Welcome back, folks. We will probably miss the start lights thanks to that disconnection, but we'll be with you as soon as possible. We'll try and gather together the screen and the on-track action for that first lap and take everything into account. I'm hoping that we get there as quickly as possible. My apologies for that disconnection. What a terrible, terrible time to have it. That has to be, apart from maybe the start of the final lap, that has to be the worst time to miss it. Here we go then. On track. So it is Nick Gishen who got away from pole, and he is in the lead, but Super D has moved forward. It is Uzi in third as they go through to start lap 2. Hashim has dropped a couple of places down to P7, well, maybe one place as the fastest lap comes in from Nick Gishen straight away. Let's have a quick summary of position change. Remember, all drivers on medium tyres apart from Jacques, who started right at the back and is still there. 7 places up for Razor. What a start for the Mercedes driver. Everybody else moving just 1 or 2 places here or there, or staying exactly static. Hamrick down 3, make that just down 2 now, as we seem to have a driver with an issue on the track. I did see a quick problem on the track map. Looks like Jacques, who is a long way back at the moment, who struggled away from the start, but Nick Gishen holds on to the lead. He got, not necessarily by rights, he was the fastest driver through Q1 and Q2, but Hashim beat him. They look a little bit slow coming out of turn 11, but I think that's just game mechanics. Let's see anybody about to make a move down into turn 12 and 13 on this end of this second lap. No, not quite. And as the gaps open up, that did look like Sir Hamrick and Top Gun is still fighting over that position there, over Sir Hamrick's P15. Looks like he's managed to secure it nicely. Nick Gishen, another fastest lap on the medium tyres here. Early doors, he's trying to break the gaps to the rest of them. There he is in the front of the circuit. He's still not quite more than a second in front of Super D. Avalak is moving forward against 0-2 right now, but it's Nick Gishen, Super D, Uzi, your top 3. Hashim still in 7th, having dropped 2 places despite being the fastest driver through qualifying. Stoffel, it's Midas and Arno making up the difference, 4th, 5th, 6th at this stage. Lots of drivers in a DRS zone, very few able to actually action a move just yet. You do need that DRS if at all possible, but Hashim is staying with Arno in front in the Haas, as is Pampern on the back of Royal Viking, but a grid of 2 groups plus a Jacques at the moment. Oh, there's a car off circuit. That is Top Gun off circuit at the moment. There he is. He's still going, but he's just knocked his front wing off, so he's going to be heading into the pits shortly, hopefully not depositing any debris on the race surface. And Nick Gishen has managed to get that crucial 1 second gap to the car in front of Super D, and now we should see some fights as they come down the start-finish straight. This is Hashim blasting past Arno, so one overtake of the 6 he needs to do total here tonight to justify where he was. And as AP Marg is still here, which is great. Thank you for the reassurance as the rest of our audience managed to tune in. My apologies again for the technical problem. I'm afraid it can't be helped. With load shedding across South Africa, it does seem to affect drivers joining and leaving, and the stability of lobbies in general. There is Top Gun. He is gone into the pits, and here is Uzi having a problem. Uzi has gone wide on the approach to turn 11, and now he's spun for a second time on hot tyres. He's going to have to just bring that car back in, but Uzi, he was the Grand Slam winner and championship leader for the first 2 races. Well, he won for the first race, held on to the lead through the second race, and has been missing through the rest, and his woes continue. Looks like Avalak has just come on the back of a very tight battle between Royal Viking and Pampern in front, so that means Hashim gaining from the misfortune of his teammate there. I wonder if Uzi will go for plan B on the strategy now that he's out of sync with the leaders. That's Royal Viking and Pampern side by side through the Tarzan corner. Royal Viking trying to sneak his way alongside, but Pampern did have the grippy side and managed to get the car ahead before Hugenholtz. Crucially, and manages to stamp on the throttle 2 or 3 car lengths in front of the Alpine driver, who will now be focusing behind him on our current championship leader, Avalak, in 11th place, just behind him there. Razor hanging on to that beautiful start of his, although I think, has he ghosted somewhere? I'm not actually seeing Razor on track. There he is, finally. There we go. Just the game having a glitch moment there for me. His teammate Midas looking very racy on the back of Stoffel, the lead Red Bull right now. AP Marks, a great move on Royal there. Absolutely. Secured it around the outside of Tarzan and was still side by side as they went through the next few corners. This is Super D, right on the back of Nick Gishin, who typically will use all the ERS available if he's at the front here. But keep your eyes on Nick Gishin, because he doesn't always manage a fully consistent race. It's rare to see a race without a significant error from Nick at this stage of his career, but he is working very hard to iron those mistakes out. He leads by 0.4 of a second currently from Super D, who has been the dark horse so far of our evening. Hashim in 5th, straight on the back of Midas, who was having difficulty between turns 10 and between turns 9 and 10, where we've seen many drivers have problems through qualifying, but that's the first race time problem we've seen there for Midas. He's suffering a little bit of inconsistency through the season as well, but he has got blinding speed on him. Hashim then, calm and collected, just ticking off these drivers. He's got 3 more cars in front. That is Stoffel, Super D and Nick in turn. But Hashim bringing himself forward here after that fairly unjust penalty he picked up in Q3. No battles going on except for this one. Here we go. Brad down the inside of Arno, trying to crowd him out and take his line away. It meant that Arno was looking like he was on roller skates on ice there for a moment, but he gathered the car back together. I'm not entirely sure that was a completely clean pass there from Brad. There was definite crowding of the racing line Arno chose on the outside. But it's early days, only lap 7 of 36 so far, and the drivers just working their medium tyres as far into this race as they can get away with, and then they will see what strategic options are available to them. Avalak is in 10th. He's moved up 1 place since his start, but Razor, the star of the first few laps here, with an 8th place climb currently. A reminder of the tyres, but it shouldn't be too difficult to remember. No penalties on the cars just yet. So I'll keep on to my places gained. Oh, Hashim versus Stoffel. That's come about pretty quickly and in an unlikely part of the racetrack. So I wonder if Stoffel had a small mistake. This is not exactly what Hashim needs, because gifting DRS to the car in front. Now that was either a mistake from Stoffel or some gamesmanship there, letting Hashim have the DRS, or letting him have the position before getting the DRS back. That is a defensive move that is valid, if a little bit questionable, and can lead to crashes, of course. Super D is now 0.4 behind Nick Gishin in the lead of this race, just up the road from Stoffel and Hashim here on screen, and Midas Gamely hanging on to the back of the battle, hoping to clean up here. Hashim's got a very tight line coming through turn 10 and into 11, but it didn't really do anything for him. He had a wider entry into 11. I wonder if he's looking for a sneak attack into turn 12. Not quite, just stay with him. If he has the same situation as before, let's see if Stoffel is doing anything with the DRS detection line. I don't think so. Looks like an honest error then, possibly the lap before. Hashim now with the DRS. Car in front is derating and sparking down the main straight, but he just can't get the top speed delta. Managed to get through Ari Lundijk corner. Let's have a look at Nick Gishin then, who has lost the lead to Super D. I'm missing the drivers are surprising me with how quickly they're getting through. Super D, how about that? Getting the move, I presume, into Tarzan on Nick Gishin. to these guys trying to get away from battle for third at the moment, but battling with each other is not going to help. Lap 9 of 36, so we are motoring through this race. Your order then at lap 9, Super D ahead of Nick Gishen, Stoffel and Hashim, and then Midas, Brad, Arno, Razor, Pampern and Avalak. Razor hanging on to that 8th place. Little gap to the car in front, little gap to the car behind. Quite a comfortable place for someone who started right at the back, I imagine. But Super D can't shake off Nick Gishen. I'll make sure I'm watching them then down the main straight, but I think you've got to be around 0.3 of a second behind the car in front with DRS to make this work. I don't think Nick Gishen's going to do it. I don't think, unfortunately, Hashim's going to have a go either. Let's see any other drivers close to each other coming down. No, they've all just got those gaps just a little bit too far. How about this then? Chums with Shakes behind. They've both got DRS though, cancelling out the profit. And Uzi pits. So plan B for Uzi. Jacques is in 16th. There's Sir Hamrick and Top Gun who have dropped back for various reasons. Let's see what tyre selection is going on. The McLaren, he's gone for hards on lap 10. Looking for a long old stint then on those hard tyres for Uzi, winner of race 1. So Hamrick has retired, unfortunately. Where has Sir Hamrick retired? It's on track, sadly. That means safety car will be in action. Oh, and contact between the leader and second place driver. They won't be able to get their places back, will they? I think they're okay. Super D slowed. He's been told to release Nick Gishen after contact at the back of his car. Now, is the pit window open for hard tyres? I think it might be. Let's keep an eye on the drivers with the at the front of this order. They are shaping towards the pit lane. In they all come. So the tyre window just opening. That is perfect for Uzi, of course, who, while these drivers are all going through, Uzi can gain at least distance on the circuit. I think he might be so far back though. He's not. They're all going to get cheap pit stops versus Uzi. So it hasn't been working too well for him. Down in 15th. One more lap for him before that safety car would have been perfect. But Nick Gishen will come out of the pit lane ahead. And I think he pitched Super D into a spin, half spin. And he's planning to let him by, but I think Uzi's going to be given the instruction not to overtake, is he? No, they've replaced each other. They've switched the places round, and hopefully that won't result in another any kind of penalty. They've managed to sort it out so far, at least. Penalties on the cars though for Jacques and Top Gun, who will be glad that they will be able to gain back on the leaders and the lead gaps, but it's not been brilliant start for them. It's 5 seconds each, so I imagine that was contact with each other potentially. Tyre selections then, again, just uniform across the board. Everyone on hards apart from Jacques, who's gone to a different tyre selection. He's on the mediums, having started on softs. Approaching 1/3 distance, we have Super D and Nick, Stoffel, Midas, Hashim, who Hashim lost a place to Midas then in that safety car period. Usually it's because the champion team Mercedes had to take the first pit stop position, and that means that they, even though they've stopped for 2 seconds, they still have to let the entire field by before they can be released. So Midas losing. No, Midas gaining a place there on Hashim, so I'm confused. I'm confused about that one. But the safety car will run round for another lap at least. Is that a driver heading for the pits? No, just hanging around in the pit lane area. Brad has gone in. Now, is he thinking about? He's thinking about a switch to mediums. Is Brad? And a front wing? And a front wing. Okay, so he had to change compound, couldn't put a new set of hards on. It's a big ask then. 2/3 of the race distance on one set of mediums is going to be tricky for him, but he could be quick at the start of this stint. Just got to rein in that temptation to get really aggressive on those tyres. I didn't get anybody's predictions, but you can enter them now if you wish. Do make sure you've liked the video for doing that though during this break, and you are a subscriber to the channel as well. Remember, if you like the commentary, you can follow me at WebORed5, and a reminder to tune in to Division 1 on a Tuesday evening and Division 3 on a Thursday evening here on the channel. We're just experimenting with start times during this load shedding season in South Africa, but by 8 PM we should all be live, I think, for all the divisions, local time in South Africa. Safety car coming in, thankfully, and we will go green very shortly. Super D will lead us away and decide when to pull the trigger. Could be quite late into the start-finish straight, unless he manages to build a gap here on Nick. Hashim will want to dispatch as many drivers as possible during this restart lap, so watch out for that lead. McLaren in 5th place at the moment. It looks like possibly Super D is going to wait. No. Yes. Okay. Remember, we had a major incident earlier in the season in Mexico with Nick doing a restart that was a little bit too start and stop. Well, there goes Super D. That is a cracker of a restart. If it's possible, Stoffel took a place before he was allowed to, but he's managed just to get ahead as well. Nick just caught seesawing the steering wheel to get in front. Hashim gained a place as well. Fantastic for him. Pampern gaining a place on Razor on the restart. So Hashim in 4th, Nick Gishen still in 2nd, and Stoffel in 3rd place. Stoffel did have to hand that place back then. He gained a position, but he's had to hand it back. That means that that Hashim will have Stoffel in his sights now. I said he would be racy, and it has proved to be. Top Gun has dropped right off the back of the Crocodile. Quite sure why that is. And Dustin has joined us, and he's cheering on Nick Gishen, who inherited pole after a questionable steward decision from the game. It looked like Hashim challenging there down into the Audi S, but not quite nailing the move on Stoffel. Have to reset and go again. His sister McLaren, the Uzi driven McLaren, having a problem into that self-same corner as well and dropping off the back of the field. It's been a race to forget for Uzi, who has been looking forward, I think, to racing here and getting back into the swing of the championship. It's not worked out. Is that a car spinning? It's Midas. It's Midas who has lit up the rears coming out of Tarzan and dropping down the order. Will Uzi get past him? I'm not sure, but Midas will be treating those tyres very, very gently, as Uzi had to himself earlier on. Let's focus on the front though. Half a second separating Super D and Nick Gishen. Stoffel 6/10 behind them, but I just caught the slightest view of Midas spinning, and that means Hashim can now have eyes fully forward on 3rd place Stoffel. Hashim has been struggling for top speed. I think he had the car trimmed for qualifying for downforce, and has been struggling to pass down the longest straight on the track. We'll see if he can make a difference shortly, but or with his tyre or fuel wear rates. Nick Gishen 4/10 in front, 4/10 behind to Stoffel, and Super D leading the way. Down they come with DRS re-enabled after the restart now. Nobody looking particularly likely to make a move at this stage, but the pressure building as we tick through the laps. It's lap 15 of 36. One safety car, hopefully that is all we will see, but 15 runners remain from the 18 that started our race. Highlight so far definitely has been Razor's climb, but he's plummeted back down to 14th sadly. So both Midas and Razor having problems since that restart. Top Gun has retired. Top Gun retiring in the pits. Thankfully, that will stop or prevent a full course yellow situation. The drivers will continue to race despite that yellow flag. If they have got the track map up, they'll see why the yellow flag came on. So Razor currently last, unfortunately. Started at the back, got right up into the midfield, and is back at the back again. Hashim is possibly in striking distance of Stoffel, but with them all having DRS at this stage, he will struggle to get the strike done. Let's see, what about 0-2 versus Jacques? Here we go. Having a little sniff to the inside, but Jacques just far enough in front at the apex, taking a standard line through Tarzan, out, in and out again, not leaving a car's width at the apex, but thankfully for him, his rival wasn't quite there with him. 0.3 of a second. This top four are really close to each other now, and it's a bit of a powder keg waiting to blow, I think. Waiting for a gap is Hashim to develop between Stoffel in front and Nick in front of him. Looks like Midas passing Viking down for 11th place. This is lap 16 with 20 to go. All the drivers on hard tyres now should be good to the end. The ones that are still on mediums, well, it's certainly going to be questionable, isn't it, if they can get those mediums to the end. Certainly Jacques is he started on softs, and he may be able to put a second set of softs on at the end. I thought Midas might be going for that option, but the safety car excuse me, safety car put paid to that. Nick Gishen having a look around the outside of Hugenholtz. No way through at this stage. Just testing his rival at the moment, see if he can put him off legitimately. Now within 1/4 of a second of the car in front. Super D with a very nice restart, and Nick Gishen showing some sportsmanship already, releasing Super D after the contact under safety car conditions. Midas climbs to 10th in the midfield, but understandably focus at the moment on the front. Midas is moving himself forward here. Arnaud won't let Hashim get fully away. Jacques fighting back against Midas. Makes me want to switch off this battle to go look at them. Pamperne's retired. Pamperne in 8th place has retired from the race, and the safety car comes out again, and Hashim was going for it, and he's been stumped once again. This is one of those races where Team McLaren this year must think that the safety car is against them, or the stewards in-game stewards are against them as well, because it is seemingly every obstacle has been put in front of potential wins here for McLaren this season. I just remember Uzi under pressure with his whole family watching in Hungary and having 3 or 4 safety car periods in the lead, and his lead cut every single time. Now, interesting dilemma for the drivers. The window will be open for medium tyres to the end of the race. We are at less than half distance to go. We'll see what Super D decides to do. They're all on comfortable tyres to the end, and it is disadvantage leader in safety car situations when there is a potential change of tyre to come. So decision time for the drivers. What would you do watching along now? What would be your strategy call? The gap opening up there between Super D and Nick. They're going to have to be careful not to fall foul of the safety car delta rules, time delta rules. Oh, Super D has stayed out and Nick Gishen has come in. No, he hasn't. That was a fake out. A Stoffel definitely comes into the pits. Hashim goes through, and he gains another track position. Pretty smart thinking, I think, there from Hashim. No panic in the McLaren, and he's gained another place on one of the rivals in front of him. Jacques picks up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is a bit of an error there from him. perhaps making a late decision to enter the pits. It is lap 19. The drivers will potentially have 15 or 16 to run once released from this safety car. 13 runners remain, so our chance of a further safety car is reduced. But Pampa and Top Gun chums Brad and Sir Hamrick sadly have left us. So interesting call there from Stoffel. He has given up a potential third place track position for better tyres, hoping, I think, that the rivals behind him would all do the same. Unfortunately, only Jacques and Uzi pitted that lap. So he will have to do a lot of work on the track. He'll have a good tyre advantage, especially in the warm-up phase after the restart. But at the front 9 will be able to have the knowledge that everyone around them are starting on the same condition tyre. It's all about your tyre warm-up in the preparation lap for the restart. Nick Gishen, usually the absolute star of restarts. But Arno will be hoping to copy that this time round as the audience builds, I guess. What's happened? Why is everyone suddenly joining us, I wonder? A reminder to everyone watching, if we do lose the stream, I will do my best to get it back within 3 or 4 minutes. So back to the channel homepage and hit refresh. Hopefully it will come up live. But if you've hit the notification bell on your subscription, you'll get a notification when the video is live anyway. So that might be the wise thing to do. A little look then at Jacques has just got that speeding in the pit lane penalty. Everyone else has served their penalties in the pits, who still had one on the car. Razor has gained some places back, back up to 9th, 7 from his starting position, 6 each for Shakes, Avalak 0-2. What's Hashim and Super D doing? Super D, tell me he hasn't come off the track. He has come off the track, lost the car. Is he allowed to take those places back? Doesn't appear to be, so he must have been off track when the first 3 cars passed him. Super D, oh dear, dropping back then. He's in 4th. That means Hashim has got 1 more place gifted to him. So it may be a case of positive karma for Hashim, who's seen drivers pit and crash and make different strategy decisions in front of him, and we will go racing once again. The green flag has been waved, but we wait for Nick Gishen to start. Now he'll be hopefully cognizant of the fact that he was penalised for a poor restart back in Mexico, so I imagine he'll learn from that and be a little bit smoother. Does that hand an advantage to Hashim, or is Hashim just happy to make it a two-way battle at the front of this race come the end of this stint, I wonder? AP Mark says go Hashim. I imagine most of the McLaren supporting audience say the same thing. There goes Nick now. Hashim went with him quite well indeed. Let's see, there won't be much of a slipstream. He'll try and pile the pressure on this restart lap, but there's no way through. Let's have a look further back in the field, see if anyone is in striking range here. Not quite. We'll continue cycling through. Back to the lead as Nick Gishen holds on to this lead of the race. An eventful race. I don't think we've seen a consecutive 4 or 5 laps so far this race where the top 5 has stayed the same. It's been up and down. It's lap 21 now. Some distance left to run, and the drivers will, if they're doing it, will have to do it with the tyres that they're on. Stoffel, 9th place, managed to get Razor on the restart, it seems, as Midas is dropping down. Midas is obviously spun. Looks like he's back running, so we hopefully avoid another yellow flag across the whole circuit. But Midas down into 13th now on the restart. Still cold, hard tyres, I think, on the car, and it is a struggle to get those switched on. Stoffel close behind. Arno retires. Arno retires from the race as well on the approach to Ari Lundijk corner. And do we go for safety car number 3? Yes, indeed we do. Apologies, folks. It's a difficult track here to get the cars off the racing line when they retire. But this is getting a bit silly now. 3 safety cars inside of, what, 15 laps? So a pit stop going on. That's for Midas at the moment. He's fitted medium tyres. So he will have half a lap or so to catch the tail of the field. They're all running to the same delta though until they actually catch the safety car. So Midas won't be able to do a great deal here. Let's see how hard can he push. He'll be saving fuel at this stage. Let's have a look at the fastest lap so far, shall we? Fastest lap lies with Shakes on a 1:14.2. Expect that to be challenged by the likes of Stoffel and Uzi and anybody else who decides that now is a good time to stop for tyres. Field condensing at the back here. Midas not really able to make much inroads into the lead, and there he is slowing again. Let's see, any of the front runners decide to pit now. Nick Gishin, if he pits, I imagine other cars will follow him. They all go for it. Does Nick does go to the pits, and Hashim decided to do the opposite at the last second. So Hashim back into the lead. It took 23 laps for Hashim to get his rightful place in this race after scoring the pole position, and he's back on top, but he's on hard tyres. The 5 drivers with him all on hard tyres. Stoffel though has seen another driver pit and drop down, so he gains another place, back up to 6th for Stoffel. He gave up 3rd place on the road to get that, but still a lot of work to do to get past another 3 drivers to get back into that position. Nick Gishin rejoined the race, and he will be just in front of Midas, just behind Royal Viking, and crucially outside of the top 10. Big deal here for the drivers. Has the safety car gone into the pit lane? It has. The safety car has gone into the pits. Have we just been... No, we are still under safety car. I did see the flashing yellow box on the flag there. Are we green? It looked to be green with green flag. Crazy restart. What is that all about? As it looks like we've got a battle going on here. 0-2 versus Stoffel. Stoffel around the outside. There'll be good grip on the outside there, especially with the cold hard tyres on the Ferrari. And Stoffel securing that overtake as they approach Hugenholtz. Nice move from Stoffel. Shakes is dropping back. Oh, Shakes all over the shop and lost an end plate there on the front wing. So contact either with a wall or another car. But, well, a bit of a stealth restart. A strange one for me there. And Hashim managed to restart that race with a decent lead. The safety car went into the pits. We were still under caution of some description, and we had a green flag come out of nowhere. Anyway, 0-2 tries to stay on the back of Stoffel, who has now managed to catch his teammate Avalak. Interesting team dynamic here. Does Avalak let his teammate go despite hanging on to the lead of the championship, or does he try to settle into that championship lead position, despite the fact that Stoffel has the better strategy at this stage, the better tyres at least? Hashim, fastest lap, out there in the lead, and it really has worked out very nicely for Hashim, despite suffering that injustice at the start. Uzi is trying to make it a good night all round for McLaren eventually, and Nick Gishin in 10th place to overtake Shakes, picks up the new fastest lap as Shakes goes into the pits. Nick Gishin with a lot of work to do to get back up to the front of this race. Here is Uzi, 1/4 of a second behind Royal Viking 7th place. There's not really much you can do to overtake a driver through here. The McLaren has looked good through these right-handers. Drop me a quick note in the live chat, please, somebody, I lost it for a moment there. Just reassure me that all is well. Uzi 1/3 of a second now behind Royal Viking. That gap opening up a little bit just to the natural state of the track. Now up to half a second. He really needs to gain here. Royal Viking deploying a little bit of electrical energy. DRS has been re-enabled, but not until these guys cross the start-finish line again. Thanks, AP. And Uzi, no DRS on the car that time. So your order on lap 26 with 10 to go: Hashim, Super D, Avalak, Stoffel, 0-2, Razor, back up to 6th place. Another roller coaster race for someone starting at the back. This battle, Royal Viking and Uzi, 7th and 8th. Jacques Slater, Nick Gishen, Midas. Shakes has now put soft tyres on to run a fairly difficult 10-lap stint, or just a bid for the fastest lap potentially. But everyone driving currently will get points if they can get it to the flag. And Uzi getting so close in Sector 2 to the back of this Alpine. Hashim has got this beautiful 2-second lead at the moment. Looking to the outside then is Hashim. That is no way to make an overtake, but you can put your rival on the wrong line through the corner and close in like you haven't managed before. Nick Gishen overtakes Jacques. Their difference in tyre. Looks like the Alpine has used all of its ERS. DRS is open as well for Uzi, and nice easy overtake. Whoa, no! Coming back strong is Royal Viking. I think Uzi might have felt like that was done and dusted, and there's contact on the exit of Tarzan. Neither driver willing to give enough space, but I think possibly that was Royal Viking getting a little bit squirrely coming out of Tarzan. Surprising both Uzi and myself with that late last gap dive down to the inside, as Shakes picks up another fast time. This is on the new soft tyres as well. Who's pretty keen on that fastest lap tonight is Shakes. What a cracking camera angle that is. Tracking the car behind the sand dunes. Avalak in 3rd place, leading the championship and leading his teammate by 1.5 seconds as well. So all of a sudden the gap's opening up, except for this one. Here is Midas up against Jacques, who finds himself, thanks to the pit stops of others, in a bit of a moving roadblock situation. Midas getting alongside. Oh, very close to some contact there, but it's Midas goes round the outside. Jacques will get the DRS, I think. Yes, indeed. And he will come back past down the straight. Will Midas hang on to a braking zone down the inside? Room is given at the inside, but Midas touches the curb, I think, and lights up the rears. Holds on gamely. Royal Viking messing up as well, coming through Tarzan, and Midas and Royal Viking competing for slowest or at least best style points coming through Tarzan, and neither of them gaining the places that they were wanting to. Razor is in 6th in the sister Mercedes and having a eventful race, to say the least. Umer says mad move by Viking on Uzi earlier on. It did look a bit crazy, but I think, you know, it takes 2 to tango on the exit of that corner. There's one thing doing a dive down the inside, it's quite another making contact on the exit of the corner. I'm quite sure how to call that one myself, so I will sit on the fence. Stoffel and Avalak. Now this is interesting inter-team dynamic here. Stoffel on good tyres to maybe bring Avalak forward into the battle for the top 2 placings, but Stoffel currently having Avalak in front and Avalak leading the championship, needing those points you fancy, but Stoffel will be hungry for a good finish here. Let's see what kind of discussions are going on in the team. Certainly Avalak hasn't put the welcome mat out for him. Is that Shakes off the circuit? It is, but thankfully hasn't damaged the car. or not terminal damage the car at least. Razor versus 0-2 on the approach to the Audi S. Doesn't amount to anything, but they're close, and Royal Viking is close back on Midas. Here is Stoffel within range of his teammate. His teammate weaving slightly down the straight. Legitimate weave, that was not a problem as such. Here is the next battle though. Oh dear, Razor making a bit of a Midas style mess of that one, and locking up on the inside, the car on the outside. Zero was a bit of a innocent party there, as Uzi then clears Razor and moves on forward. Now, I don't think Razor will be suffering any negative effects on the tyres at this stage. 6 to go, plus the one that they are on right now. As Hashim leads this one, continues to lead this one, and the Red Bulls certainly are not speeding their way together towards the battle at the top between Hashim and Super D. And we've got 3 cars in close proximity at the back of the grid as well. It's Midas, it's Jacques, and it's Royal Viking as they try and navigate the corner. There's more contact. It's Jacques this time on the inside, not giving up the corner and losing out, touching his front right to Midas rear left, and now trying to wrestle that car back into some kind of submission. So those 3 together didn't last long, did it? Hashim puts a lap on Shakes, and I think Super D will follow him through in this sector. Well, Shakes on the soft tyres, perhaps not making life super easy for Super D in front. Looks like Super D has got past, and the Red Bulls continue in their battle with each other. One of our drivers in the chat says, what was that all about? And Super D, unfortunately, not for the first time this evening, is pointing the wrong way on the racetrack. Super D has dropped down. That means it's a Red Bull 2-3 at the moment. Avalak, again, consistency paying off tonight, making fewer mistakes than those around. And now I imagine he'll be even less inclined to give a place up to Stoffel, because I don't think Stoffel has the life in those mediums either anymore. Yellow flag sector 3, that's Uzi. Unfortunately, Uzi dropping back behind Nick Gishen and getting the car back under some kind of control. No visible damage on the car. You never know what these drivers have had to drive with. Sometimes Umer will update us and tell us if his brother is driving with damage on the car. Royal Viking trying to hold off Midas at this stage. Should we go have a look at those two? It could be a bit feisty. I don't think the Red Bulls are going to do-si-do around each other here. Wait for Midas maybe to launch a move on the harder compound tyre of Royal Viking. It's lap 32, very much in the final stage of this race. We've got another problem for a car coming through the final sector. That is one of the Alpha Tauris, who are currently in the final 2 positions on the racetrack. Looks like Hashim has possibly just put a lap on Jacques. Wait to see. I don't think Midas quite close enough to Viking here. Might take another lap of consolidating and putting the pressure on. Stoffel half a second behind Avalak. Still. It really has been a very eventful race here in Division 2. Just one penalty on the car at the moment, and that is for Jacques. Not going to affect anything at the tail end of the field. Avalak has climbed 9 places from his start, 0-2 the same. Razor up 10, despite that little off-track moment, still in 6th place for good points. A yellow flag. Is that Uzi? Is that Uzi again coming through into the final sector? It is. I think Uzi almost certainly driving with damage on the car. This is very out of character for him. Jacques has gained 7, but really just from the misfortune of the drivers behind him, in front of him from the start. But Hashim up 4, which I don't quite know how that works because he did start in 6th and now he's 1st. Not the most glorious of days for for Codemasters today, is it? But we persist, we keep trying, and Stoffel shaping to the inside, just letting his teammate know that he's getting a little bit impatient now. Looks like Razor will be the prime candidate for Driver of the Day from the game. If you've got a Driver of the Day nomination, do let me know. Always like to hear that. I will try and make my call as well. Midas on Viking, is that about to turn into something? We'll watch them as they approach Tarzan. Temporarily, that was 1/4 of a second away for Midas. The car in front is derating, but so is Midas. DRS is open. Tries to put the frighteners on Viking, but it's not enough. They're both completely spent on their ERS. Uzi's gone into the pits. Is that for a retirement? He's gone for a set of softs and a new front wing, so confirming some damage on the car there. Clearly, it just wasn't visible from the outside. And we just check in with the Red Bull pairing as they head towards the Audi S. Let's check out Midas and Royal Viking. Will they be tempted into any kind of move here? So Uzi will have one shot to steal the fastest lap off. I think it's Shakes who still has that. It is a 1:12.7. The Red Bulls have entered Tarzan for the final time. Still line astern. Hashim is still right in the lead of this one, ahead of them, and ahead by enough to not really worry. Just got to bring the car home now. This could be the last move opportunity for Midas as he gets closer and closer. Royal Viking gives him the inside, but he's not there. He's not close enough. So cut to race leader as he heads on through here. Second sector, just keeping very, very wide berth away from those curbs. The hard tyres have worked hard for him, and now we're just trying to stroke this one home. Hashim has worked incredibly hard tonight to move himself forward, to keep his head while others lose theirs, and he rounds the final corner. Ari Lundijk, everything done. The pole sitter wins in Zandvoort, and justice is done for Hashim. Avalak, the championship leader, will extend by scoring 2nd place ahead of his teammate Stoffel. In 3rd, we have 0-2 with a good performance in 4th. Super D bringing the car home in 5th. What could have been Razor with a great performance overall from the back into 6th place, and then Nick Gishen, perhaps a slightly wrong call at the pit stop during one of our many safety car periods. Royal Viking beats Midas to the line, and Midas destroys the car. And here is Uzi going for that fastest lap attempt. He's got a purple middle sector, not a purple first sector, I don't think. And let's see if Uzi in 10th. Jacques has already crossed the line, so his race is run. Shakes will be trying to get the fastest lap as well. Uzi in 10th. This is just about, does he get purple? And he does. A 12.569 beats the fastest time by 2/10, and Uzi secures the fastest lap tonight. Some comfort, but not much, where his teammate Hashim triumphs in Zandvoort. And congratulations to him. Thank you everybody for taking part in tonight's race with us and for sticking with us through those technical problems. We will hope to iron them out. There is the driver of the day for Razor. Hard to disagree, although he did have a little spin, didn't he? So a little bit tricky for me to call that one. Many drivers having issues through today's race, but Hashim with all the glory and the champagne to come. Here he is. Not for the first time we've seen a McLaren driver walking down those hallowed steps and up onto the top step. Lots of drivers comparing notes in the driver chat here about the safety car that wasn't the case of the disappearing safety car tonight. The McLaren team celebrate and the champagne is sprayed. You know, I'm kind of tempted to give driver of the day to Avalac there, just because I don't give it to the winner. They've got enough. AP Mark says, great drive, Hashim. I do think justice was done in the end. He did get his win after the pole position was taken away so cruelly. Hashim wins from 5th on the grid, but really from pole effectively in a 49-minute race time, and beats out Avalac and Stoffel, the Red Bull pairing, to 2nd and 3rd place. 0-2 secures 4th. Super D in 5th place. Razor in 6th from 16th. Then Nick Gish and Royal Viking, Midas, Uzi, Jacques and Shakes finished our race tonight. Unfortunately, though, we did lose Arno, Pamper and Top Gun, Chums, Brad and Sir Hamrick. Congratulations to Hashim and the McLaren team, and of course Red Bull, who will continue leading the combined constructors for sure, as well as the Division 2 Drivers' Championship. Well, thanks for your company tonight, everybody. We'll hope to tune in same time next week. From me, Webbo, and from everybody here at Division 2, we will catch you on the next race day.